Alright guys, welcome back to another Fortnite video, and in this one, it is time for my Week 8 Challenges Guide, featuring stuff like the location of the search between a mysterious hatch, a giant rock lady, and a precarious flatbed. Got the location of that, and we're also going to be going over challenges like where to find the secret banner for this week, tips for searching chests and shifty shafts our lonely lodge, just a bunch of tips, tricks, and secrets to help you guys get done with this week's challenges as quickly as possible so that you guys can get closer to unlocking skins like, well, the Snowfall skin. We're going to be able to unlock that next week, but also these will help you level up Lynx and Zenith and also get closer to the Ice King. Now, before we get into it, guys, big thanks to all of you who have been using my supporter creator code, the Llamasir, in the item shop. I seriously do appreciate it a ton. Again, you put that in the bottom right corner, and it is THELLAMASIR. And also a reminder, it resets every 2 weeks, so you do have to re-put it in. But yeah, guys, if you find these guides helpful and want to help support me, you can do so by using my code in the item shop. And big thanks to all of you who have already been doing so. On top of that, be sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed today's video, and also comment what tier or level you guys are at. I'm currently at tier 100, level 60, but I'm curious to see where you guys are at. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it with a quick overview of this week's challenges in case you're like not home to see them. But we're going to be covering, of course, the secret banner location for this week. And then for the challenges themselves, we have got use campfires or launch pads in separate matches, search chests and shifty shafts our lonely lodge. I'll show you some tips for those. Build structures, search between a mysterious hatch, a giant rock lady, and a precarious flatbed. Again, I'll show you the location of the star or battle star that you find within that. You've got deal damage while riding in a vehicle, visit 2 location stages, and also explosive weapon eliminations. So yeah, guys, definitely a pretty interesting week, but let's get into it with the first challenge I want to go over in today's video, and that is dealing damage while riding in a vehicle. This is definitely an interesting challenge and can be a little bit tough, but I think I've got a couple of things here that could help you get this done. Now, first of all, the obvious thing that's definitely going to help you out with this one is if you can play with like a teammate or teammates, because, well, you can have them drive around and then you'll be in like the passenger seat and you guys can work together to maybe get close to some enemies so that you can deal damage in doing so, and then maybe you can rotate and then drive for them and they can get the damage done. And also, guys, if you need help finding teammates, I definitely recommend my affiliate GamerLink. It's a free app for iOS and Android, and they have a section where you can find teammates to play with. So I'll leave a link to that down below in the description if you want to check it out. I've been affiliated with them for a while now, and it's an awesome app. But then, like, what's the better game mode to do this in? Well, I definitely recommend a big team limited time mode like Team Rumble. That tends to work very well. And even if you don't have teammates to play with, you could maybe get like a Stormwing. I do think the Stormwing is like the best vehicle for this because, well, you can fly above enemies. But if you're in Team Rumble, obviously, again, you have respawns and there's going to be a lot of enemies to get damage on, especially if you're flying around in the circle later in the game. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe you can just use the weapons on the Stormwing itself. I kind of forgot about that, so I didn't test that out, but it's worth a try, I guess, to see if it counts. But yeah, guys, you should be able to get it done pretty easily. But then after that, guys, let's jump into it with the secret banner location for this week. It is a banner this week, not a star. I know you guys generally prefer the stars, but hey, the banners are cool as well. And also, if it, continues to follow the switching between banners and stars and stuff like that, next week will probably be a star with week 9. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, for the banner for this week, the location for it is actually pretty easy to find. The week 8 loading screen has been floating around on Reddit and Twitter and stuff like that. And as you guys know, there tends to be a clue hidden inside of those. And the clue this time is actually pretty interesting. They've gone back to doing one of those like coordinate type clues. Now, first of all, as always, guys, if you are new to these types of challenges, the way that you first unlock the, well, ability to even get this secret banner is by completing this week's challenges. You need to complete all 7 of them before this banner will even show up on the map in order for you to get it. Now, on top of that, you do also have to complete the previous week's challenges for this one to show up. It sort of works like in an order, because say you complete week 1 and then week 6 for some reason, you only get the loading screens number 1 and number 2. So you have to complete all 8 of the weekly challenges that are available so far for the number 8 loading screen challenge, which is this banner. But yeah, as for the location of it, the clue seemed to point out the coordinates A8, B8, and A9, B9. Now, as we've seen in previous weeks where they've done these sort of coordinates, that refers to the map. So if you take a look at the mini map, there's sections for A, B, and then 8, 9. And if you look at that and where they intersect, it actually intersects on the southwest portion of the map, pretty far down there, sort of near Frosty Flights, to the south of Frosty Flights. So if you go over to this location right here that you see me going to, you will see this little patch of rocks right here. here. Now this should be where the banner shows up, so if you just go into game, land here and pick it up, you should be able to get the banner just like that. Now if for whatever reason it's not here, like Epic Games decides to change it or something like that, simply check the pinned comment down below for updates, but I really think it should be here, and that's a pretty easy spot to find. After that then though, you have the use campfires or launch pads, and those have to be in separate matches. Now this one is interesting because, well, it's a little bit RNG based. Obviously this one's going to be based off of how fast you can find campfires or launch pads, but I've got a couple of tips to hopefully make that go a little bit quicker. Now first of all guys, the first tip that I have for you on this one is to maybe save it for the end. The reason I say that is because obviously there's like a chest challenge, and I don't think you can get traps out of chests. Correct me if I'm wrong, but either way, if you're searching chests, you're probably going to come across floor loot, and you can find traps as floor loot. On top of that, if you're landing at a location, you may spot one of these when you land there, so that's something you can do. However, one of the other things you can do is go into like a big team limited time mode. Like for example here in Team Rumble, you can try and search the supply drops. That's right guys, especially in Team Rumble, not a ton of people go for the supply drops, so if you like wait on the battle bus until the circle shows up and then drop towards the center of the circle, you can search for a little bit of loot inside of there and then wait for the supply drops to, you know, drop onto the map. You'll be able to hear them when they show up, but then you can run over to them, and the supply drops do have a pretty decent chance of spawning some of these, so you know that can help out as well. After that then guys, let's talk about a chest challenge, which has you search 7 chests in either Shifty Shafts or Lonely Lodge. This one is definitely pretty interesting because those two locations aren't the most common locations. But still guys, which one is maybe better? Which way should you go about getting them? Well, first of all, I think the best game mode to do this in is again just a big team limited time mode, especially like Team Rumble or something like that, because it's likely that one or the other of these is going to be on your team's side. So if you drop towards whatever location is on your side, you're unlikely to run into enemies. Now as for the locations themselves, I'm thinking that I'm gonna lean towards Lonely Lodge. I feel like it has maybe a couple more chests, and granted they are spread out. As you can see right here, there's some like near the cave, there's one on top of it, there's a couple like in the random huts and buildings, the little smaller ones around this area, but there's also the potential for 3 chests I believe to spawn in the main cabin, and also 3 chests on top of the big tower. So all of those together makes it for a decent way to get some chests here. Now again, each chest spawn is, you know, random if it decides to spawn there or not, something to keep in mind. But as for Shifty Shafts, there's not a ton of chests in the main area. There's a few up top, and also like a few in the mines behind like some of the wooden, you know, walls and stuff like that. There's also one in the back of the truck there, and now that I'm thinking about it, there's also the houses, but I'm not 100% sure if the houses count as like being in Shifty Shafts. I haven't quite tested it yet, so something to keep in mind there. But yeah, they're pretty similar locations, so overall shouldn't be too difficult. But then following that one, you have a pretty easy challenge, which is build structures, and honestly guys, I only have like 1 or 2 tips for you on this one, but basically I would recommend a big team limited time mode for this one, because you know, you can drop on your team's side, go for a bunch of materials, probably at Wailing Woods, getting wood from the trees, and then just placing them down. It should be pretty easy. On the other hand though, you could not even worry about this challenge. If you're playing the game normally just for fun, you'll be placing structures down in like build battles and stuff like that, so you'll be working towards it when you're not even really trying to, if you do want to do it that way. After that then though, before we get into the search like between the locations challenge, we've also got the explosive weapon eliminations challenge. Now this one is pretty easy as well, but the only tough part about it is that it sort of comes down to RNG. You have to find an explosive weapon in order to do it, so that's sort of the tough part about it. However, I do recommend like Team Rumble or something. That definitely helps because obviously you have respawns. It tends to be easier to find loot, and also you can use that same trick I told you of maybe looking inside supply drops, because if you happen to find like a rocket launcher, that definitely can help you out with this one a ton. So yeah, that one is pretty straightforward. And then after that guys, we have the search between a mysterious hatch, a giant rock lady, and a precarious flatbed. Definitely an interesting challenge, but I know the location of where you can find the battle star in between these. Now real quick before we get into it guys, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I post these guides every single week for the challenges, showing you guys tips and tricks and secrets to help you get done with them as quickly as possible. Now if you don't want to miss one of these guides, the best way to know about them is to be subscribed and have notifications turned on. But yeah guys, getting back into it with this one, this one's clues are definitely pretty interesting. I feel like it's a little bit more secretive than the previous ones, but either way, this is where you can find the battle star that, you know, shows up with these clue type challenges. So yeah guys, for this one, it doesn't matter what game mode you go go in, you just need to go over to Wailing Woods. Now, it's not exactly in Wailing Woods, it's actually, just outside of it. But for example, here, the first part of that clue, which says a mysterious hatch, that seems to be this one right here. So that was probably the easiest part of the clue. That's like in Wailing Woods itself. But then you have a giant rock lady, which I didn't really know about until I actually looked for it. But if you do look around, you will find the giant rock lady on top of this hill over here. Definitely pretty interesting right there. Goes with the other like rock man that's near Wailing Woods, but in a different direction. And then you also have the precarious flatbed. And as a quick reminder, one of the meanings of precarious means dangerously likely to fall. And then for flatbed, that means like a flatbed truck. So it's obviously this truck over here that seems like it's just about to fall off the edge. So if you go up in the air and triangulate the position like between these, the star will show up right on top of this hill. As you can see, there's a little, bare patch right there. So if you go up to that area right there, the star will show up and you'll be able to pick it up. And then for the final challenge I want to discuss in this video, it is the Visit 2 Location Stages challenge. Now, I haven't quite gotten to the other stages of this challenge quite yet, but I'm guessing the other stages are just, different locations to visit, 2 locations, since that's how it's worked in the past with this type of challenge. But either way, I can give you some overall tips for them. Now, the first of which game mode is best for these? Honestly, guys, with this one, I don't really think it matters that much. You could honestly do like solo squads, but for sure, one of the things you want to take note of is just make sure you're in a mode that has storm wings that can spawn, or storm wings or quad crashers, something like that, because using those vehicles to get you in between the locations definitely can help out a ton. So even if you have to land at like an expedition outpost to maybe grab a storm wing, I think it's worth it as long as that expedition outpost is fairly close to one of the locations you need to go to. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more guides like this. On top of that, you can check out my previous week's guide, week 7, on the left here. Just click the screen, and then on the right, an awesome theory video about the event that just happened in the overall story. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.